Hey everyone, welcome to Project Unknown, and our guests this week are Jennifer and Brian with Two Rivers Paranormal. So to start out this, just like we did last time, what brought you guys to the field of oddities?
I've always watched Ghost Hunters since I was little, and then I brought Brian along with me, I guess.
Yeah.
The first time we ever went somewhere was Trans-Allegheny. He bought me tickets for Christmas, and we went, and it was over from there.
Was that when? And for anyone jumping on here, I've investigated with Jennifer and Brian. I don't even know how many times at this point. Is that when I met you guys?
Yeah.
Time there? Oh, so that was your first investigation ever?
Period. Yeah.
Okay. So why don't you tell us a little bit about each of you, some of the experiences you've had since getting into the field. Jennifer, what sticks out to you the most? And then Brian, what's something that really sticks out to you?
Probably the shadow figure at Ohio State Reformatory sticks out to me the most.
The shadow figure or the doppelganger?
The shadow figure. I never seen. Well, it was a doppelganger and a shadow figure because it looked like the outline of Jim, but it was all black.
Brian, is that yours too, or what's yours?
No, I saw you. I saw you. I remember distinctly was the lack of hair.
And we're looking
and what?
Anything.
And I still have the lack of hair, so I haven't changed that. And, the nice thing about that night too is, or the interesting thing I should say, is that I saw you guys, and was it your brother, Brian, or Jennifer?
Mine.
So your brother, that I saw all three of you with, clothing, flashlights, everything, walking into what I thought was the men's shower area, and it was a broom closet. So it definitely wasn't you guys, and I'm still digging through the footage to see if I captured any glimpse of what I saw.
Yeah.
So
well, we're actually in the men's shower area.
Did you get it on camera?
I don't. Yeah, we got you calling us on the radio on camera. Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I asked if you were in the back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to try and sync that stuff up together at some point. So talking pre-show and talking to you guys over time and everything, you wanted to come on here not for paranormal, but what did you want to talk about during this episode?
We wanted to talk about some urban legends in North Carolina. Since that's where we live, we wanted to represent North Carolina today.
So strictly urban legends and cryptids in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So, and for everyone who is watching and making comments, Facebook does not show who is making comments. So if you want to be acknowledged or let us know who it is, just type your name after your question or whatever you say, so we know who it is. So, hey, everyone who is here, Jennifer and Brian, can you guys see everyone commenting so far?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what is the first urban legend that you guys want to talk about? I saw your big notepad.
So have you ever heard of a blood shower?
I have not.
So apparently in Chatham County, North Carolina, back in like the 1800s, this lady heard rain, or what she thought was rain, and she went outside of it. It was red. And she thought it was blood. Well, a chemist from Chapel Hill, he took it and sampled it, and it was blood.
Was it Chapel Hill or NC State?
It's at UNC.
Okay.
So
it was blood.
Was there any science or reasoning behind it?
No, I mean, they have no idea how. I mean,
what was it a one-time event?
Yeah.
And when did this happen?
It was like 1884 or something like that.
Oh, okay. So way.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time, but
okay.
I don't know. It was weird.
So Chapel Hill, or what part of North Carolina? I'm sorry. Can you guys hear me?
Because we lost. Okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So Chapel Hill, what part of North Carolina?
Chapel Hill. Well, it's in
for the blood.
Chatham County.
Chatham County.
Okay.
Which is where like the Devil's Tramping Ground is and all that also.
Okay. So I did do a video on the Devil's Tramping Ground, and I did not know that was private property at this point. I thought that was just, in the woods somewhere, but I could see why the owner would potentially get angry on people sneaking in and throwing a bunch of random stuff into this spot. And I would like to touch upon that because I know we've talked about it before, but I know you have more things to talk about that I've never heard of. So what, you got the raining blood per se. What is the next one when it comes to North Carolina?
So, and people in the comments, y'all can say something too, see what everybody thinks. The question is, do inanimate objects like cars and trains and planes, could they have residual energy? So, just outside of Salisbury in Iredell County, there was a train crash on Boston Bridge in 1891 that left 23 people dead. And they said it fell off a 60-foot bridge and crashed. And they said that on the anniversary of it, you can actually see the ghost train coming down that track.
So the tracks are still there.
Yeah. The bridge, everything's still there. But they say you can see the train coming down. What
is your belief on that?
I don't know if the train itself could have energy, but 23 people dying on it, maybe it collectively created a residual energy of how they died, which made the ghost train.
So there is theories and rumors about railroad tracks and train tracks that it is supposed to be a, no pun intended, conductor for spirits and paranormal activity and all that stuff. So it could be residual energy based on the accident and, the people that died, on top of the urban legend of railroad tracks being a conductor for the spirit realm.
Yeah. And that was kind of where I was leaning also, but then kind of like, could the train itself have energy?
I also wonder, do the iron railroad spikes keep them contained to the railroad tracks themselves?
That's a theory I never thought of, and that's a good point. It briefly crossed my mind as I was just talking about the railroad tracks.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to think of if railroad tracks are a passageway or an open road for spirits, but technically, per the legend, spirits can't cross iron. Isn't that kind of a catch-22?
Yeah.
Or are they just kind of trapped, going
just
back
between the rails?
Yeah. In Europe, you could travel from England all the way through Germany in that case.
Yeah.
So have you investigated or looked into any of these legends so far, or have you been curious to go to the areas of the documentation?
I think we were supposed to go to the Devil's Tramping Ground this month with another team, but we got rained out and it has not been rescheduled yet.
Is there a way to request to go to the Devil's Tramping Ground, or is it something it's just kind of hush-hush about?
The team knows the owner.
Okay. That's a plus then, because then you actually don't have to worry about, breaking the law or getting into trouble or anything like that. You can actually do a thorough investigation. I would be interested if you guys were able to get there and do a full investigation on any findings you might potentially have.
Yeah. I'm interested too.
We're just waiting to reschedule.
And with the railway, if you can go where the train crash happened, it's easy. You can just walk up and down the railroad with, a voice recorder, camera, a few trigger objects, and just kind of see what you pick up. Yeah. So we've got raining blood. We've got, residual trains. What else we got? And I don't know much about North Carolina legend, so a lot of this is going to be new to me.
So we have the Beast of Bladensboro. This one, Angel from Only Phantoms, the team Only Phantoms, actually told me about. I forget exactly where it was. Bladensboro is like a county in North Carolina. It's surrounded by like pine forests and swamps and things. But apparently, December 29th, 1953, a local woman heard that some dogs outside whimpering, like her neighbor's dogs or something. So she went outside to look and saw like this large cat-like creature. And, back then you think it's like just a mountain lion or something,
Yeah.
But a couple days after that, on December 31st, they had the police chief was called out to the Storm family farm. because 2 of their dogs had actually been killed by something. But the weird thing is that the dogs were drained of blood entirely. There's no blood around them, no blood inside of them, nothing.
This sounds more like chupacabra.
Yeah, it does kind of sound like that, but they swear it's some kind of cat-like thing. And then, like the lady had said that it kind of looked like a bear or a panther or something. And then January 1st, the bodies of 2 more dogs were discovered.
Wait, time out. Bears and panthers do not look alike unless it is a sickly bear. There's a drastic difference.
I don't know. That's what the news report said when I read it. She said it looked like a bear or a panther or something.
Okay, that makes me think of someone coming out from a home in a tornado. It'll be like, yeah, it picked that cow up and threw it, and the horse hit the windshield. But I will say before you tell us more, that good job with the dates. Brian, do better. She has exact dates and years.
Yeah. So a couple of days after that, on January 4th, they actually got a hunting team from, Wilmington, to come out there and see if they could find it. Like they actually hired a professional team to come in and find it.
That would be go hunt for a cryptid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The very next night, they had the beast try to attack a person. Is what the report said, but the news article said that it just charged at the lady.
Okay. And
then her husband come out the door and scared it away. It kind of just sounds to me like a big cat.
Or bear.
Except for the blood being gone. But and then some reports said that it could have been a Carolina panther, which we had those, but now they were thought to be extinct then. It's literally a Carolina panther. The difference between not the football team. The difference between a Carolina panther and a mountain lion is that they're actually bigger, they're larger, and they're black instead of tan.
So are they bigger than a bear? I'm stuck on that. Cats and bears. I mean,
they're bigger than a mountain lion.
So real quick, somebody did ask. I have TikTok going over here too. Somebody asked, "Where is this legend?" Because they would like to check it out. Where was the sighting? What city or town in North Carolina?
I believe it's near Lumberton.
Okay.
I think it's Bladenboro County.
So is there any, for a lot of these urban legends / cryptids, mythical creatures, whatever you want to call it, there's sometimes very grainy pictures or very old pictures of what they used to look like. Is there any photo evidence or footprints or anything that you're able to find outside of eyewitness accounts?
There was no pictures that I could find. Now, the news article said, because when it charged the lady, the police chief got everybody together, and about 500 people went out looking for this thing that night. And they stumbled upon some footprints that were larger than a silver dollar, according to the police chief.
Larger than that. And I'm not disagreeing with you. And you guys know me, like I'm interested in this type of stuff, but I'm not. It's just kind of funny hearing it because, you think of chupacabras when it comes to the blood being drained and everything. But with the eyewitness reports, and then when you get 500 people, within a reasonable amount of time going to look for this thing, and they just find a few footprints. What's interesting, though, is, based on the history of the land in North Carolina, especially that area, is, we've talked about Native American beliefs before. Mm-hmm. I wonder if any of this stuff could be different versions of shapeshifters or skinwalkers or anything like that, because, and that might play into the bear and cat thing because it's constantly changing or whatever it is. So it's just a thought. These are so many different stories out there that they all root from something.
Yeah. And I mean, that's where the Carolina Panther theory come in, because they're supposedly supposed to be black. And the only bears we have here are black bears. So if they said it looked like a bear or a cat, that's how they come to that conclusion. It was probably a Carolina Panther, even though we thought they were extinct. The only thing that's weird about it is the blood's drained and it has some kind of fixation on dogs. It doesn't like dogs, apparently.
Well, I don't think any cat likes a dog. Like it's so that part I understand. And with
listen, I'm gonna die trying to pet something I'm not supposed to.
So are you going to go hunting for this thing?
Maybe.
Is there any recent accounts? And when I say recent, I mean like in our lifetime.
Mm-mm. Not that I've seen.
So the 50s.
Not that I could find.
Okay. So the 50s would be the last sighting of this. So if this animal or creature did exist, you know, it could be in different states. It could be, you know, a number of them, but it goes along the lines of Bigfoot. I truly believe there's Bigfoot and Yetis and stuff like that. I mean, this world is too big. There's no way we can cover every inch of land and find everything.
It's hard to believe that there's not. But that question about where that legend is, if you look on the map, it's between Lumberton and Whiteville.
Lumberton and where?
Whiteville.
Okay.
So it's like dead center between those two towns.
Well, there's another one on your guys' list to go check out.
Yeah.
You can be one. You know, a lot of paranormal teams focus on strictly paranormal, strictly haunted locations. Maybe some cryptids if they play into the haunted locations, but there's not many that do both. So, and you and I, or us three, have talked about the Jersey Devil, like just going camping in the woods out there, and woods are scary as hell on their own in the middle of the night. So, going somewhere where there's going somewhere where supposedly there's a devil running around, especially New Jersey, wouldn't be the most pleasant feeling. So from the bear cat, or oh man, now I got man bear pig stuck in my head. And Travis said bear cat. So we're gonna call this thing the man bear pig. Moving on from the man bear pig, Jennifer, I know you had another one that you had pages of research on as well.
I do. It's the gray man from Cape Hatteras. Apparently, it's just like a shadowy figure that walks the beach when a hurricane is coming. It appears when the first winds of the storm come in, is what I read. And whenever you try to get close to it, it just fades away.
But it's a warning of an oncoming storm, hypothetically.
Yeah, it only shows up when there's a hurricane coming. Apparently.
So I think I threw out the word omen earlier.
Yeah,
it's when we were talking about it.
Omen, warning, whatever you want to call it. Some people think that it's a ghost of a sailor that died at sea, trying to come back and warn the people of the island. And some people think it isn't a ghost at all. It's some kind of elemental spirit or something.
So what's the difference, if you guys have looked into it too much, between an elemental and a spirit?
I think elemental comes from the earth, and a ghost is an actual person who lived and died.
So with elementals, and you're right, you are right. With the gray man, if that was an omen and, you know, warning of an oncoming storm, oncoming hurricane and everything, that's actually really interesting. It would be kind of unique if it was theory one of a sailor trying to warn the island, you know, doing his job centuries or throughout centuries. But I'm wondering, the elemental, that's an interesting concept. You know, you've got a disruption in weather pattern, a disruption to the earth in that area of the potential elemental being there.
Yeah. And I'm also wondering, like, I never heard of a gray ghost. I've heard of shadow figures and white ghosts. I've never heard of a gray ghost before.
And based on what you looked up and the title of this one, you know, the gray man, it obviously at least gives the silhouette of a male figure.
Yes.
They could say, you know, the gray mist, the gray creature, the gray whatever, but it's so elemental or spirit, it's presenting itself as a male figure.
Yeah. I mean, as far as people can see, because I mean, they can't get close to it. They never heard it because they can't get close to it. They never really know how to describe it because they can't get close to it. They just say it looks like a man in the distance walking across the beach. But he's gray.
Have you guys seen the show Midnight Mass?
No.
So it's made by the creators of Bly Manor and Hill House, you know, those Netflix shows. Yeah. And in the very first episode, there was a hurricane or a massive storm about to hit this island. And there was a figure running across the beach in the rain as the storm was happening. And when the person caught up to the figure disappeared. So
same thing.
Great man.
yeah, it kind of makes me wonder if, the story itself has to do with vampires, but I wonder if that little instance, because a lot of these horror movies, horror shows pull from urban legends, big and small. So I wonder if they did pull that concept from the Gray Man.
Yeah, and I mean, if it's an elemental being, it might just be gray because it's made like of clouds and rain and stuff. That's probably why it looks gray.
Could you imagine like seeing a walking storm? Like I can't think of another way to explain it. Like someone like my size walking around, and I'm just a cloud and rain in this area. I don't know. That would be trippy.
It would be absolutely cool. Yeah.
So do you have dates, instances, examples, anything on when the Gray Man started or when it's been reported?
No, it didn't really say when it started. I think it's just been happening since the dawn of America or something.
Yeah, I mean, people have been crashing here for quite a while, so
yeah,
could be someone from way back then.
Yeah, I don't know. It never really gave me a straight answer as to when it first started happening or if it's still happening.
So the interesting thing with legends in North Carolina and legends in South Carolina is, I don't know exactly when North and South became, separate. I know it was just called the Carolinas originally, maybe even for a month, a very short time. But it's such a different atmosphere once you cross from North Carolina to South Carolina. And even you guys are only an hour from Virginia or like 30 minutes from Virginia?
Oh, less than that.
Like 20 minutes.
So even crossing the line right there, that it's such a drastic difference. So when you look at the outlay of nature and the land in North Carolina, I don't know. It just feels like it's unique in the aspect of where it's at. If you've got Virginia, that's it's a little flat, but you got the hills, the mountains, and everything. Yeah. Go down to South Carolina, there's nothing. You take 77 down, it's woods. North Carolina is kind of a mix of everything. And somebody did comment that if it's an elemental, human form might just be easy for us to understand rather than whatever form it is, if a form at all. That makes sense. So if it is the concept of I like the term walking storm. So we've got man, bear, pig, and walking storm. That if it was just like a cloud floating around, you would just think, oh, that's a cloud. That's no big deal. Yeah. But seeing a man walking on the beach, that lets our minds understand it a little more.
Yeah.
So if I can branch off of that a little bit, and I'm just making sure we don't have any questions I'm missing. So if I can branch off of that a little bit to something presenting itself as a form that we understand, that in the perception of urban legends, paranormal, cryptid, they all kind of tie together one way or another. Do you believe that stories of some of these urban legends and cryptids have evolved over time to cater to things we understand?
I mean, it could go both ways. It could cater to things we more understand, or it could just be blown out of proportion.
Like the game of telephone when we were in elementary school.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You start out saying yellow, and at the end of it, you're like, I left a pear at home.
Yeah.
So with let's go back to and I'm sorry, what is the actual name of the cat one?
The beast, the vampire beast of Bladensboro.
Okay.
Yeah,
man bear pig. We'll stick to man bear pig. I'll remember that much easier. So with that one, I mean, like you said, and it kind of caught me by surprise. Oh, it was a bear. No, it was a cat. Like, again, I'm thinking like a house cat or even a panther next to a black bear. One's very fluffy and doesn't purr, and the other one's very slick and very fast. So I get from a distance, they might look the same, but back in, when did you say this was? The 50s it happened?
Yeah, 50s, early 50s. Well, I mean, the Carolina panther could get up to 300 pounds. So it was a large cat.
Okay. So think about too, in the 50s, there was, and I'm going to kind of loop this in just to throw a wrench into this, that was a big boom as well of UFO sightings.
Yeah.
So that's, and not, I'm not talking about North Carolina. I'm just talking about an American.
In general, yeah.
Yeah.
So the man bear pig.
Yeah. Man bear pig has landed. So it's,
Plus
you
the
think
cat tree.
it was our first, what do you call it? When something picks up on social media today, trending.
Yeah.
It was the first decade of things trending because you had people, notating all this stuff of UFOs, different creatures, Bigfoot, and then man bear pig. So it's I love saying that now. You guys have made my night being able to say that. So you got to wonder though, that is it an attention thing? Was it something to get stories out there, get your name out there? Because aliens, if you remember in a lot of the documentaries we've seen growing up, even a lot of the movies, what happened to the livestock? They're turned inside out. They're drained of blood. They are decapitated. Like there's just random stuff that a normal
mutilated in general.
Right. So it's random stuff that, animals don't do. So you've got multiple things that this could be a part of. You've got the boom of UFOs. You've got areas where Native Americans were prominent, a century ago. So when I brought up skinwalkers, shapeshifters, like that, and panthers and bears, oh my, in the same area. So,
I mean, there was a story that I think we saw on documentary or something we were watching, that there was this couple in, I believe it was the 50s, coming back from Niagara Falls. And they were planning on getting home at like 11 o'clock or something. And then they saw this weird light and it was following them. And then the husband went to go investigate it because it looked like it had landed in a field. And then they blacked out and came to, and they were at home and at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's the one where it's like the most prominent UFO encounter. That's the one where they have her dress and it's got that weird substance on it.
Ectoplasma?
Yeah, something on it. It's got the weird substance on it, and they took her dress and they analyzed it, and it's some kind of substance that isn't from Earth.
It was alien goo.
Yes.
Are you sure was it Bill Clinton?
It's a little disturbing to think about.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to. I don't know if that was but so I got to throw this out there too, because I read it the other day with the story of that UFO sighting. Do you know that the first UFO sighting in the country was in the 1600s, and the story was very familiar, that there was a settler on a boat going across a river, saw a light in the sky, and didn't realize it until, it felt like 5 minutes to him, but he ended up 2 miles against the current upriver without paddling, without anything, by the time he stopped following this light. In the 1600s, there wasn't like readily available like flashlights to.
No, I mean,
I might be tripping, but don't the pyramids have some kind of carvings on there about things in the sky?
Yeah. So I'm glad we're kind of branching into a bunch of different stuff. I knew you guys couldn't stay to just North Carolina.
You're right.
So the pyramids, the theory with them is same with like the Mayan, that their construction was so precise and so pristine. Back then, there was no way. We can't do that today with the technology and the tools we have. I mean, these concrete blocks were perfectly fit together. They were flush. They were smooth. How can, even having thousands of laborers back then, how can that be that precise? And on top of the pyramids were symboled gold. I forgot what the exact carvings were on them, but they reflected, when the moon hit them or the sun hit them, to certain areas in the sky.
So kind of like lighthouses for the aliens.
Exactly. And with somebody actually commented that they found all over the world cave drawings and pictographs of aliens or people from another planet. So with aliens, there was, I think, the first documented finding, cave drawing or whatever it was 63 BC. I might be off a little bit, but it was a long, long time ago. And there are structures in Italy that were built by supposedly people from other worlds. And with how big these structures were, how precise they were with the sun and the moon, that people are baffled to this day of how can you do this without the tools that we have today? And even with the tools we have today, how the hell can you do this?
I mean, it's like, and I could be wrong, and somebody in the comments will probably tell me I'm wrong. It's like the 3 pyramids in Egypt.
Telling he's wrong.
Supposedly they line up perfectly with Orion's belt.
I've never looked that up, so I'm not going to tell you you're wrong.
I've heard that somewhere. I just don't remember where.
So I think one of you, I'm going to go on a tangent about aliens, should Google that so we can deny or confirm before this is over.
True. Someone said true.
Somebody said true. So somebody else saw it.
Okay.
So Jennifer, you might have to tell Brian he's right on camera.
I'm not going to do it live.
So somebody is commenting, I live in Rockingham County now, but I'm originally from Indiana. They have an audio CD from the investigation that they have done at their home back there before they moved here. So Rockingham County, is that North Carolina?
That's where we are.
Yes.
Oh, that's where you guys are.
Yeah.
Miss Fagel is Brian's mother's friend.
Okay.
Hey, she owns a haunted establishment too, if I'm not mistaken.
Really? And hey, somebody else confirmed they align with the stars. It might not be Orion's belt, but they do align with something.
I'll take it. It's 2 for 2.
So if somebody else can say that Brian is right, Jennifer has to tell him on camera that he is right. If you look into it, you'll find that a lot of the archaeological finds do line up with origins in Orion's belt. 3. And also with the Milky Way, there's star patterns. So, Jennifer, what do you want to tell Brian?
You were right.
It's a lie. All these people heard it. I'm done.
This is recorded. It's going to be on YouTube. That's all we needed. That was the whole point of the show. But back to all of these structures, even Stonehenge. Some of these blocks were 10 tons. There was no animal when these structures were built that they could pull maybe 10 tons, but how do you lift it and put it on other blocks? So here's one I found out the other day. That have you guys seen those memes of I can't remember his name, the alien guy, the wild hair
from the History Channel?
Yes, that guy.
Alien.
I think the show Ancient Aliens. I think that's the show.
Yeah, that's the show. I just don't know his name.
In the structures in Italy that I brought up earlier, that they believed giants built them, but giants from outer space.
So not like the Nephilim.
Space giants.
Space giants, yes.
And space giants though, like half from heaven and whatnot. Nephilims. I don't know.
Is there a term for that?
Yeah, the Nephilims, they were children of the angels and humans. They were giants, according to biblical history.
So what about Titans?
I don't know. I don't know the difference between the Titans and the Nephilims.
I think it's a religion thing. I think they're the same thing.
Christianity.
So everybody talks about giants.
The Don King of UFOs. We're getting a lot of good stuff on this. So we've went from Man Bear Pig to the Walking Storm to the Don King of UFOs. Nice. We've got to keep getting these one-offs. You guys got some meme material here.
We really do.
So watching the Don King of UFOs on Ancient Aliens, they believe that these giants came from outer space and they worship them like gods, which isn't a surprise because if you look at Greek history or Roman history and stuff, there was multiple different types of gods. So these giants built their forts, built their structures. And in return, they would give them women, they would give them food, they would give them babies, sacrifices, and thanking them for everything. So it's kind of a funny thought, or not a funny thought, but a random thought, that throughout time, the depiction of aliens, going back to what we said about 20 minutes ago, has went from giants, children of, what was it, Jennifer?
Angels.
Children of angels, giants, to big-headed gray creatures that are on South Park.
Yeah.
and with the Area 51 documentation, the aliens they have quote unquote captured, that they have dissected. Look, guess what? Exactly like every alien we have seen on TV and in movies. I will say, when the movie Signs came out, that alien scared the hell out of me.
Yes.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
The movie
I don't want to
Signs?
watch it.
It's an alien movie.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's Mel Gibson.
Yeah, the little girl, if she gets like a speck of dust in her water, it's contaminated and she won't drink it. So then, who's the other actor?
75 empty or half empty glasses of water throughout the house.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Who's the other actor in that?
It's Mel Gibson, the little girl, and wasn't it Joaquin Phoenix?
I don't know, but then there was another older gives him a baseball bat. It's like swing away.
No,
he's like hitting all this water, and it's killing the alien.
It was Joaquin Phoenix.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I'm sorry. When you said older guy, I went to Scary Movie 3.
No, not that one.
See, it was okay. So I got confirmation. It was Joaquin Phoenix. And then it was written by M. Night Shyamalan. I think I said his last name right for the first time in my life.
Shyamalan.
So yeah, it was before he came out with the movie The Happening.
Yeah.
So back to, we're kind of bouncing everywhere here. So back to, urban legends, cryptids, aliens. Is there any movies, shows, documentaries that you are aware of outside of Midnight Mass that I brought up that you think are branched off of urban legends? And let's take out obvious ones. So let's take out Bloody Mary. There's a million things out there that could be based on Bloody Mary. And let's do urban legends all over the country. So we've got the Jersey Level, we've got Mothman, we've got the Goat Man, we've got Devil's Bridge, we've got the Black-Eyed Children. What would you say, or could you think of anything that these are based off of, or films that are based off of it?
I know they're getting ready to come out, or it might already be out. Movie I like that's based. It's called The Devil's Tramping Grounds. The movie.
Really?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the movie is about.
I saw a trailer for it, but
I just know it's getting ready to come out.
That would be interesting. That if it's based on the actual legend of it.
Yeah, or somebody's experiences there.
So, Brian, I think I saw you reading the comment. Could the 7-foot shadow people be Nephilim? Is that how you say it?
Nephilim.
You guys could say that word. So, some do believe that they are earthreal, and as far as we know, don't exist. So, the world's tallest man, based in the Guinness Book of Records, was what, 8'9"?
Something like that. They got a statue like Ripley's and whatnot.
Right.
Something like that.
I think archaeologists have actually found, giant people's bones.
They have.
I'm mistaken.
And so, and this is going back to urban legends now. So archaeology research has actually found not just bones of giants, but cone heads as well. So, and not go ahead.
The comments are talking about the black-eyed kids. Something I think they said it's called They Knock. I haven't seen it. I don't know.
I think I've seen that.
About the black-eyed kids.
Anything involving kids, I'm good. I don't need to watch it. Like,
is it like the Children of the Corn based off like the black-eyed kids kind of? Maybe.
I think that's just based off of some really evil children.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
I mean, it could be.
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about the black-eyed kids. I know there's a legend in the Appalachian Mountains, like all across the eastern United States.
Western District.
Appalachian Mountains are in the eastern United States.
They're
That's
eastern.
in North Carolina. So
Yeah.
western
West-
North Carolina.
Western, Western
Don't
Rocky.
listen to me.
But all across, the mountain range runs from Georgia to Maine. They call them like the blue-eyed people or something like that, and they're older than we are supposedly. But you were supposed to leave them sacrifices and whatnot, and if you didn't follow their rules, they would come and take you away.
I wonder if that's where they got the Night King from.
Ah.
From Game
Yeah.
of Thrones?
So and for those of you that don't know, Jennifer is referring to Game of Thrones, the blue-eyed Night King.
We're
So
going all over this.
with the Appalachian Mountains, do you know that thousands of hikers have gone missing in the Appalachian over time?
Yeah.
No remnants, no clothes, no anything found.
Just gone.
Vanished. And usually if it's an animal, you find something. And clothing, a backpack. And any trace to show that there was a person that was killed or attacked. Also with the Appalachians, there is a lot of videos that I have seen, and I hate to say it, on TikTok, that it's a belief that in the middle of the night, if you hear knocking on your door or children outside or stuff like that, that's a big no-no.
You didn't hear it.
Yeah. You don't hear it. Let's put it that way.
No, you didn't hear it and you didn't see it.
I don't care if I don't live in the Appalachians. If I wake up at 1 a.m. and I hear children giggling outside, I didn't hear it.
Yeah, that's kind of like New Orleans when something kept knocking on the door and Brian kept going over there and opening it. About the third time, I said, "Don't open that door.
Yeah.
Don't open it again."
You should have invited it in.
No.
Come, friend.
I had to sleep in that room.
So the Appalachians, there are so many different legends in there that you can't find them all. That the biggest one I see is the hikers, the missing hikers. And I've heard of the giggling children, the mimicking, the luring, where you could find a cabin in the woods, fit the cliche, and you hear somebody yelling from the cabin, "Help me, help me." That type of stuff is more common in the Appalachians than anywhere else in the country.
Yeah, and that's kind of more like a skinwalker. Don't skinwalkers like pretend to be people that you know, and they mimic their voices and try to lead you off the path towards them or something?
Yeah, and that's what would be terrifying about it. Let's go back to investigating now. So we brought up Jersey Devil and investigating in the woods. Heck, if we just picked woods to go investigate in the middle of the night in the Appalachians, anywhere.
I'm not.
I will go by myself. Okay.
Oh, I'll go too.
We'll have to get you a GPS tracker, the air tag.
There you go. Put an air tag in your shoe.
I needed an air tag back in January as well.
Yeah.
So yes. So with the Appalachians, I've always been curious on, there's campsites, there's trailer grounds that you can, bring an RV to and everything, but with the history and everything, and I saw the comment too, I figured we were going to touch on that after, that it might be an interesting place to investigate. Heck, rent a camper for 2 nights and hang out in the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah, with air tags.
With air tags. And we will make sure anyone not there has access to our location.
Air tags and walkies.
And we have to have the air tags in places that will not be found.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see where
I used to work in the jail. I know.
Oh boy. Prison tags.
That took a weird turn.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody said sounds more like a doppelganger. So a doppelganger does do mimics, and that is a good point, similar to a skinwalker and everything. But from not only research that I've done, but also personal experience, and I know your guys' personal experience, the myth with doppelgangers is if you see your own, supposedly you die. And I don't know if it means you drop dead like that instant. If I run into myself, like I'm dead. Or if it's like my time's
omen.
Huh?
I think it's just the omen. you're gonna die soon.
Like something bad's coming your way, or
Kind of
But
like
what-
a banshee.
But how would you
Banshee, like if you hear a banshee or you see it, you know that you're gonna die soon.
how would you feel though if you were just walking in a haunted location or in the middle of the Appalachians and you're looking at your phone or looking at your prison tag and bumped into someone and you look up and it's you?
Oh.
but
Well, that's
this
it.
is my time.
Air tag.
Yeah.
Panic button. Where's my life alert?
So the mountain people don't let strangers on their mountain and will kill trespassers. So that's West
Las
Virginia,
Vegas?
isn't it? Isn't that like all of West Virginia?
Yeah. West
So
Virginia.
so funny story with that is I jumped off of 77 in West Virginia. I didn't want to pay, the $25 it is to drive through the state on 77.
It's ridiculous.
So I jumped off before it started. And when I did that, I regretted it pretty quickly because there is nothing. There's houses with people staring at you out the windows. There are kids like standing on the side of the road staring at you. Every horror movie is on the side of the road in West Virginia. It is terrifying. Granted, I know some people from there. There's very nice people, but at nighttime, I don't know. It's a little intimidating.
Yeah, they're standing. You'll hear banjos playing, and I know someone's going to say that Deliverance was filmed in Georgia, but I get that West Virginia vibe from that movie.
And it's people are bringing up Tennessee and Arkansas and everything, and it's similar that there is legends in the woods of Tennessee and there's legends in Arkansas. I mean, in Tennessee, they built a high security prison, Bushy State, in the middle of the mountains because where are you going to go? Yeah, prisoner gets out. What happens? You have to go into the mountains, and they're pretty much not going to survive that.
Yeah,
Well, I think the whole back of it is like a mountain, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can't even climb up it.
it's
right?
in
The whole side.
yeah,
the
it's
whole thing?
surrounded.
Okay. So 3 sides.
So a funny story
sides.
about Tennessee. I don't know whoever said Tennessee for sure. I don't know if you've heard of Sensabod's Tunnel before. So Sensabod's Tunnel is just outside of Kingsport, Tennessee. And while I was in the Marines, I went with a buddy home, and we'd heard about it. We wanted to go check it out, and they knew where it was. And I don't know the full story. There's something about a flood, and a lady died and lost her baby because they were going through the tunnel or something like that. But if you go in there and you shut everything off and roll down the windows, you can start to hear rushing water, and you can hear a faint scream off in the distance. So we did it. We drove, parked in the middle of the tunnel, shut everything off, opened the windows, and we just sat there silent for a few minutes. And the guy in the front seat yelled. And we burnt out leaving. They're like, what happened? Like, we didn't hear anything. I heard water. But it's just water.
Well, that's just like a Trans-Allegheny when I heard the whistling and
Yeah.
nobody else heard.
I think Ben heard it.
Yeah,
Okay.
But
our crawling friend.
yeah, no. So we got out of there. We're like, what happened? Did you hear the scream? No, I didn't hear the scream. Well, I heard the water. Well, then we looked on his side of the car in the windshield. There was a baby handprint.
No way.
And that's what he saw, and that's why he yelled and said, "Let's get out of here." And
did he see the handprint form?
No, like he said he looked out the window and looked back, and there was a baby handprint.
Oh, so it happened like back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably would want to get out of there too.
So
there's actually another tunnel that between North Carolina and Tennessee that never had construction completed on it, where you could drive up to it. And I'm sorry that I can't remember the name of it. It's south of Gatlinburg. So I know Gatlinburg's in Tennessee, but where North Carolina crosses into Tennessee, if you go south from the main highway, I think 40.
Yeah.
It's somewhere south of 40. And supposedly it never got finished because as they were constructing it, one of the explosions killed a lot of the workers when they were, blowing it through the mountain. And every time they've tried to finish it, something has happened. So they just stopped.
Sounds like an adventure.
It does sound like an adventure. I mean, you might get some baby handprints appearing on the car,
Yeah.
or it's the same for me. It's the same thing of like woods, going into old tunnels in the middle of the night, or just stuff where the bloodshed that happened there, and just simple things from construction, because back then that OSHA wasn't a thing. So wait, is it on Dragon Tail? It might be. I can't comment for sure because I don't know exactly where it's at. But if you look up the most haunted places in North Carolina or the most haunted places in Tennessee, it's in one or the other, because I just can't remember where the entrance is, if it's in North Carolina or if it's coming in from Tennessee. But I know you guys like adventure and you're going to start hunting for some of these things. You should find it.
Yeah.
Along with Man Bear Pig.
Along with Man Bear Pig. Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh man. But no. I think the woods is I never got that really bad feeling in like Trans Allegheny except in the lobotomy and on the 4th floor.
I'd rather be in a haunted building than in the woods.
Yeah, but the woods in Virginia at the cabin I didn't like any of it.
So Hinsdale is the closest I've came so far to investigating the woods. And anyone who knows the story of Hinsdale, there's a lot of different, stuff that's happened on that land. And, there is a neighbor and sound does echo, but I felt terrified. And you guys know me, I laugh. Like I'll laugh, I'll jump and laugh again and stuff like that. But the woods at Hinsdale, I went to get my trail camera and I had the same reaction. I'm like, nope, not doing this. Turn around, went right. I didn't even look behind me. I walked with my flashlight over my shoulder because I'm like something.
Away.
Yeah, I'm like something is going to sneak up on me. I'm pretty sure my flashlight's not going to do anything. But in my head, I'm like, oh, blinded by the light. Ha ha, it will work. But
and I know I told you this story at the cabin on 360 when I was going to set that trail camera up and something was running next to me in the woods. And that was probably the biggest note moment I've had in a long time.
And it's okay to have note moments.
It took 3 of us to go get that camera.
Yeah.
That's
at the end of the night.
Yeah, at Hinsdale, I got the camera when everyone else went outside. So when I knew there were other people outside, I'm like, okay, if I get killed, at least there's other people out here that are going to get killed as well. It's
well,
I'm not alone.
I'm not alone. Y'all must be city dwellers. I am for sure. I don't think you guys are less city dwellers than I am.
Well, and whatever was running in the woods next to me, it didn't sound like a deer or a squirrel or something. It sounded like it was running on 2 feet.
No, I mean, I'll go out in the woods.
That's what got
Not
me.
in the middle of the night, though.
Oh, yeah, I'll wait till the next morning. That's no problem. So what about, did you see that the Conjuring House is now offering camping in the woods around the house?
I didn't.
I think I saw something about that.
And I've seen some people say that they've had more activity outside of that house in the woods than inside. And go ahead.
I was going to, I mean, that's what, like all those documentaries that are on it now, that's what they all say.
Yeah.
It's not the house itself that was cursed or haunted or whatever. It was the land as a whole.
And as if I remember correctly, isn't there a part of the woods that is dead? Like all the trees are dead. And like, there was a documentary that the camera went one way and it was green forest, all stuff like that. Then the camera went the other way and it was just dead.
I don't know. I didn't see anything about that.
But I do think for everyone on here that I think we should set up an investigation in woods somewhere. And we will have to pick between Jersey Devil and the Appalachians.
Yeah.
One of us has to learn to play a banjo if we're going to do anything in West Virginia, though.
If you want to be accepted, you must learn how to play a banjo.
Exactly. How about in an investigation?
Or own a bunch of roosters.
Mothman Cave?
No, Mammoth. Mammoth Cave.
Mammoth Cave.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I read Mothman in my head first. So I would love to investigate Mammoth Cave because supposedly there was a tribe that lived down there a very, very long time ago. And it is one of the most haunted caves in America, on top of the Bell Witch Cave. So I definitely would love to do that, but it all comes down to getting permission from the owners of these properties, these locations and stuff like that. Because I know, Jennifer and Brian are the same as me, that we don't like to sneak into places and give a bad name to, people doing what we do. But we would love to get into any sort of cave. And I'm sure in the coming months, or maybe within the next year, you will see a few caves/forest pop up on Two Rivers Paranormal page and on Cross Country Paranormal's page. So before we wrap up, Brian, Jennifer, where can people find you guys and learn more about Two Rivers Paranormal, or if they wanted to reach out to you guys about questions with North Carolina?
They can reach out to us for at Two Rivers Paranormal of Eden on Facebook.
And you guys monitor that page?
Yes. It also has our email on it.
And you can send a message and that goes, straight to, we both get the notification. So one of us will get to it.
Awesome. And if you guys can't find their page, you can find me on Cross Country Paranormal and I will get you over to their page. They do a great job with what they do. I am excited that you guys came on the show and appreciate it. And until next time, we're going to wrap it up, and I'm sure you guys will be watching with me next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to hang out, I'll talk to you backstage.
All right. Sounds good.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Cut the damn hair back on.
I'm right now.